Join me as I dive into my journey of learning Python and share the top things I wish I had known from the start. Learning Python has been an incredible experience, and I'm excited to share my insights with you. In today's tech driven world, having a solid grasp of a programming language like Python can open doors to countless opportunities, from data science and machine learning to web development and automation. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced programmer, Python is an essential skill to have in your toolkit. Learning Python can be daunting, especially for beginners. One of the most significant challenges I faced was the overwhelming number of resources available. With so many tutorials, videos, and courses out there, it's hard to know where to start. I spent hours browsing through different websites, trying to find the perfect resource to learn from, only to end up feeling more confused than when I started. The sheer amount of information can be paralyzing, making it difficult to take that first step. Another challenge I encountered was the confusing syntax. Python's syntax is actually quite simple and intuitive, but when you're first starting out, it can be tough to wrap your head around. I remember spending hours staring at lines of codes trying to figure out what was going on, only to realize that I had made a simple mistake. The fear of making mistakes is also a significant hurdle for many beginners. It's easy to get discouraged when your code doesn't work as expected, and it's tempting to give up when you encounter an error. As I delved deeper into Python, I began to realize that the biggest challenge was not the language itself, but my own mindset. I had to learn to be patient with myself, to take things one step at a time, and to trust the process. It's essential to remember that learning a programming language takes time, effort, and practice. There's no shortcut to becoming proficient in Python, and it's crucial to be kind to yourself when you encounter setbacks. Understanding the key aspects of Python is crucial to making progress. One of the most important things I wish I had known from the start is the importance of understanding data types. In Python, data types are the foundation of everything you do, and having a solid grasp of them can make a huge difference in your coding journey. From integers and floats to strings and lists, each data type has its own unique characteristics, and knowing how to work with them is essential. The value of practice cannot be overstated. When I first started learning Python, I thought that watching videos and reading tutorials was enough. But it wasn't until I started writing code myself that things started to click. Practice helps to reinforce your learning, solidify your understanding of concepts, and build your problem-solving skills. It's essential to find projects that challenge you and push you to learn new things. Whether it's building a simple calculator or a complex web scraper, working on projects helps to make learning Python a more engaging and enjoyable experience. The significance of projects cannot be emphasized enough. Working on projects helps to take your learning to the next level, allowing you to apply theoretical concepts to real-world problems. It's one thing to learn about data structures and algorithms in a tutorial, but it's quite another to implement them in a project. By working on projects, you'll be able to develop a sense of ownership and pride in your work, which can be a powerful motivator. Plus, having a portfolio of projects can be incredibly valuable when you're looking to showcase your skills to potential employers. One of the most impactful lessons I learned during my Python learning journey was the importance of persistence. There were many times when I felt like giving up, when my code wouldn't work, or when I just couldn't seem to wrap my head around a concept. But I persisted, and that's what made all the difference. I learned to break down complex problems into smaller, manageable chunks and to take things one step at a time. I also learned to seek help when I needed it, whether it was from online communities, forums, or friends who were more experienced than me. I remember one moment in particular when everything clicked. I was working on a project and I had been stuck on a problem for hours. I had tried everything I could think of, but nothing seemed to work. Just when I was about to give up, I took a step back and I realized that I had been approaching the problem from the wrong angle. I changed my approach and suddenly everything fell into place. It was a moment of pure elation, and it's a feeling that I'll never forget. That moment taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of perspective. Sometimes, when we're stuck on a problem, we just need to take a step back and look at it from a different angle. It's easy to get tunnel vision, to focus so closely on the problem that we forget to consider other possibilities. But by taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, we can often find a solution that we hadn't seen before. It's a lesson that has stayed with me to this day, and one that I try to apply to all areas of my life. Another lesson I learned was the value of community. When I first started learning Python, I was lone wolf trying to figure everything out on my own. But as I progressed, I realized the importance of connecting with other learners, sharing knowledge, and learning from their experiences. Joining online communities, attending meetups, and participating in forums has been incredibly valuable, and I've made some amazing friends along the way. The Python community is incredibly supportive, and I feel grateful to be a part of it. In conclusion, learning Python has been an incredible journey, and I've learned so much along the way. From understanding data types and the value of practice to the significance of projects and the importance of persistence, there are many key takeaways that I wish I had known from the start. If you're just starting out on your own Python learning journey, I encourage you to be patient, to trust the process, and to seek help when you need it. With dedication and persistence, you can overcome any obstacle and achieve your goals. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and I hope you found my insights helpful. If you have any experiences or tips to share, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your own Python learning journey and what you wish you had known from the start. Be sure to check out my other videos for more tips, tricks, and tutorials on programming. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks again and happy coding.